All right. Can I see that? All right. That looks pretty good. Except I can see this is cracking me up, people. Oh my God. I'm Mr. Heat Blister. I'm Mr. Sun. This is so weird too, because the way it is in front of me, I'll just share it with you, is mirrored. That's why you can read the word happiness. No, notice I am practicing. It looks weird. Like when I move my hand this way, I see it moving that way. Man, am I working on my brain here, right? So good morning, Farm Girl. Nice to see you. Thank you for hopping on over. I am making sure, can you see and hear me? Just let me know. So if I need to do any, what do you call it? Like, what do I want to call that? Like IT stuff, let me know. Okay, can see and hear you. Love it. Thank you. I am going to, just as people are hopping over here, yay, say hi to each other. If you see, so take a look at the names in the comments. And hey, while I do this, because what I want to do is I want to plug in my phone and start to get the TikTok live processing. As I do that, if you feel like it, many people right here in this YouTube have just hopped over from, from TikTok. If your username here on YouTube is different than the one you have on TikTok and you want to share your TikTok moniker here, feel free to do that. It might help people realize, oh, that's Kara, or oh, that's so-and-so. Okay. So say hello to the people next to you, introduce yourself. I am going to just get this party started here, because I want to make sure that you have the most stuff available to you. All right. Well, I'm glad I did this because it's acting kind of wonky. So yay, I'm glad I'm starting earlier. Maybe I will cancel out. And then I want to ask you too. So this is the cool thing. Okay, Kaylin is USC 595. Good to know. Good to know. Blonde Cheryl is Cheryl Siegel. I love it. I am Beth Destination Decluttered. Where was I? I don't want to take too much time. There we go. Away from where we are. But I do want to get this party started. Okay, we got that going. Now, Cheryl, I love Penny Myers says, Cheryl, I enjoy when Beth says your name. You know what what name I crack up on, and I don't think she's on here? Judy Dukes. Judy Dukes. It just kind of rolls off the tongue. Penny Myers is Penny Lou Magoo. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning again. Yay for TikTok lives. Yay for YouTube lives. Notice the difference. I will say this over here. What hand is that? It's this one right over here. See over there, those little Christmas candles? The next time I do a live, they will not be there. They will be packed away in the container, in the tote that says Christmas candles down the basement. Because there is a certain time in my home where things are, on display, and a certain time where it makes sense to not have them on display. Now, my husband and I are totally missing that we'll be missing the glow of them, but we're going to experiment with how to get that again. But externally, it feels kind of weird for me anyway, to have those candles up past a certain point in January. I don't judge anybody who has them up. I judge myself and I say, you know what? It feels weird to have Christmas stuff up. And notice that feeling weird. I don't want to feel weird, so I take it down and I feel okay. All righty. So here's the fun thing. Besides the fact that it's horizontal, and if I want to say, expand your comfort zone, and I can really be at the edges of this framework here, that I can do so, and the fact that you can read the words correctly. And the thing that's neat about these YouTube lives is, notice already my vibe has shifted because there's a smaller amount of people here. So I don't have to be yelled to be heard and keep my energy up here to get to all 150 plus people. We're now in like a neat room, like a conference room, but a really cool one at a cool hotel that's tropical outside, and it's open to the air, so you can come and go as you please. We're there in caftans because why not? We're comfortable, and feel free to come in and out. But right now we've got this nice smaller room of people, so I can drop down my energy, and not into lack, but just into, feels good to talk at this volume. to this amount of people, to get a little bit more kind of 1E on 1E, even if there's 25 of us here. So that chunking down of the people will increase kind of the depth that we can get into when we are decluttering and the quality of the answer, because there aren't always new people popping in needing help from the very beginning. Okay. So Cheryl is saying a lot of time I struggle. Okay. Notice the struggle between this and that. A struggle is something between this and that. Struggle with balancing my energy between being awake and calm. I swing, notice, between overstimulated and understimulated. So notice we want to get the balance right. What I will suggest, Cheryl, is first of all, notice that that is going to be number 2 on the list. Nervous system. Feeling too much this way and too much that way, you're noticing isn't helpful. So let me ask you this, and I'm asking you this question, but really what I'm doing is I am giving you this question so you can ask it to yourself, and then you can listen to yourself answer the question, and then write down your answers to the question. Okay, so Cheryl, what I would ask you is, and I'm asking you this not because I want to hear the answer, so do not write it down in the comments first. Writing in the comments is communicating it to me. I want you to write it in your notebook to communicate it to you first and then me, which is, what are the things you have done in the past that cause you to feel more centered, more balanced? What works for you? What has worked in the past to make you feel more balanced? And I would write down, these are things that have worked in the past to make me feel more balanced. And I would write that down. Write it to yourself, create a list of things you have done. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. And I do a lot of, oh, that's writing, because yesterday I was exhausted. And then I remembered, oh my gosh, that's right. I had a wicked busy day that day. And then I did a yoga class that kind of kicked my ass. And then I was a bit out of sorts. So I noticed all that stuff. And I reminded myself of the context of, it's not weird that I'm tired, that there's evidence of why I'm tired and it's okay. All right. So I say this to everybody, not just to Cheryl. I show up with a tray of hors d'oeuvres, a tray of questions that I offer to you. And if you want to learn about yourself, you will feel comfortable picking up that question and using it for yourself. Asking yourself that question and writing it down for you, and if you want to share it. But don't share it in the comments, and I'm being lovingly firm about this. Practice not sharing in the comments first. Flip it. Write it down for yourself first, so that at the end of any time we spend together, you have notes as to what came up that was helping you. You have it here and not just some electronic words on a screen. And that will help you get to your destination so much more quickly. Okay. Now, one thing I will say that I just remembered was from yesterday. I kind of abandoned my afternoon, and I had the check the YouTube lives to see if the chat is available. I'm still going to do that. And I'm going to look for a shredding event in my area. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff I didn't do yesterday because I was tired. Notice my tone when I say that to myself. Okay, no big deal. I was tired. I went back to number 1 on the list. Take care of your human body. I got myself untired. I feel better now. And then everything that I didn't do yesterday will be easier for me to do because I am feeling less tired. Okay? That's how it works for me. And I hope it works for you. If what I am saying, and I love to kind of play, not devil's advocate, but I want to ensure that the process I am offering to you is all quality and not so much fluff. Okay? This is a funny thing about writing a book, for example. Have you ever noticed, and I'm looking over here, but it's really on the corner of my bureau. Have you ever noticed when you go to buy a book that so many books are of the same kind of dimensions and width? That doesn't mean, it's almost like that just means that it's socially acceptable to have a book be that many pages. And what I have found is that if I wrote a book, it would pretty much be a pamphlet. But if I wanted to write a book with a standard publisher, I'd be required to add a lot of fluff to make that book look more socially acceptable. Cool thing is, I've written books before. I don't care to write a book again. If what I have can be summed up in a pamphlet, I love handing you that pamphlet and say, this is all you need. You don't need 250 pages or whatever the standard is. Here are 4 layers, boom, 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 3 layers, boom, 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 1 destination. And I don't know, that seems like a pretty good way of doing things. And if we need to add on anything, but so far, the 4, the 3, I kind of wish there was a 2, just to be a 4, 3, 2, 1 action type of thing. But 1, so 4 layers. How am I feeling physically? If I don't feel well, do something about it. How am I feeling in my nervous system? Am I way up here? Settle it down. If I'm way down here, maybe rev it up to get to just right. Number 3, and these are all downs. Crown on down, physical. Settle down, nervous system / calm down, nervous system. Number 3 is going to be writing down. Writing down is part of this process. If you skip that step, getting to your destination will be harder. 3 is writing down, 4 is chunking down. And then I guess I could say, then there's surface clutter, stored clutter, sentimental. That's a 3. I will say, once you chunk something down on your list, I guess the 2 could be picking a date and picking a time and putting it on your calendar to get it done. Chunking it down until the chunk feels doable. And then finding space, making space in your daily calendar to do a doable chunk from your list. And then number 1, which really should be at the very beginning, but we're going kind of top down, is defining your destination and then also reminding yourself on the daily of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm doing what I'm doing because it's heading to this heart right here, my destination. And basically, let me even oversimplify things. Destination love, feeling good, destination love, alignment, strength, courage, all the good stuff. That's what you're heading towards when you declutter and do anything. And the thing that's stopping you, the roadblocks, the little concrete blocks in the way of your car are little fears that crop up all the time. And they may not be different fears all the time. It may be the same fear that just shows up and then it shows up again and it shows up again. So notice, as I think I said just recently on the Destination Decluttered TikTok I just did, that's the maple syrup. That is boiling it down to its bare bones framework, because from a framework, you can build an awesome life. And your framework, think about it, a framework of a house, you get to decide what kind of house you are building. I don't want your house to look like my house. I want your house to look like your house. And if you want help with that, here I am. So that's the framework. I am going to be repeating that pretty much in every single live I do to remind folks, including myself, who show up on the regular, but also to introduce it to new folks who may come along either during a live or when the lives are uploaded to the Destination Decluttered YouTube channel. So that's why I'm doing that. But I've done my piece and I feel good about that. Now, you. I am here with a bunch of hors d'oeuvres. How can I help you? What room in your home, what chunk of your home are you currently struggling with decluttering or maintaining it in a decluttered manner? Let's talk about the chunks. Let's use this episode. I'm going to write this one down. The episode of chunking it down, rooms in your house. So we can show how you chunk it down. Chunking it down, rooms in your house or home, I'll say, because some people don't live in houses. I will say right now, In my house, in my home, we have one room we call the tiki room. Now, the funny thing is that it isn't on the blueprints. In the blueprints, it was a dining room. But my husband and I don't dine, and our kitchen is huge, as is our table there. So we don't need a big place for a table and a big place for a table just because somebody decided that that room was going to be for it. So we have one room called the tiki room. And now, temporarily, it is the most cluttered room in the house because that is the room that we have bit by bit been pulling the holiday decor from other parts of the home, our home, and putting it in that room to make it easier to then put into totes and put down the basement. Okay, Bianca, if you struggle with the whole house and notice the you are stuck at number 2. How do you feel physically? But also, I sense some overwhelm in your nervous system simply by 2 things. One is the like emoji that you use, the but also notice that you don't want to chunk it down. You're saying, no, it's the whole thing. Yes, and yes, it's the whole thing. And how to help you with that is going to be step 4, chunking it down. Chunking it down and picking one room. All right. Camille is getting closer. She says office and bedrooms. I say pick one of those to focus on. All right. Now, Jones is saying kitchen. And neat thing is kitchen and then kitchen table. Notice that's a chunk down times 2. Okay. Judy Duke says the most cluttered room is the utility room. Okay. Good morning, Jules Gen X. So everybody here now, and play along at home. Please use our time together for your benefit. Okay. Picking one room in your home, chunking it down to one room will help you practice this framework in whatever room is bugging you the most. So I would suggest within each one of those rooms, notice Jones has already done it. Look at the surfaces. So notice you've got a chunk called a room in your house. Luckily, homes are typically chunked down into rooms, so it's already organic. You don't need to think of it. But you go to that one room and pick a surface that is cluttered. Okay? Pick a surface that is cluttered. And how can I help you declutter that one surface in that one room? Now, Penny is saying the laundry room is the worst, but it can't be prioritized right now. I'd get curious about that. Why not, Penny? Whenever somebody says can't, that perks up my curiosity. I'm like, why not? And I'm kind of being sassy, but I'm also just being genuinely curious because I've never been to your laundry room. I don't know your priorities. I trust part of you that says that, but I want to make sure that that's your co-pilot talking and not your backseat driving. Right, because I'm packing to go to Poland. All right, cool. So notice that. And what you make, the easiest thing you could do to make it a priority, though, Penny, is when you are in your notebook, flipped to the back of it, you write down destination, declutter the laundry room will be the thing you work on at some point when you get back from Poland, right? And yay for international travel. I love it. Now notice Stacy says, at my old home, the worst room was my bedroom. At the new home, I keep my bedroom immaculate and notice the association. I keep my bedroom better and I sleep so much better. There we go. Now Camille is saying, my boyfriend and I love having assistance, loving having cooperation, organized our laundry room, and it feels so good. Ba, 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 da. It feels so good since that is what we see when we come in and out of the house all the time. Yeah. We call that area in our house the nook. It's nothing we've ever called it that, but literally when we inherited the house, well, we bought the house, but we got the blueprints. They called it the nook, so we call it. Same thing. I often will declutter that first because it's what you see when you come in and when you leave. Okay? So notice that each one of us has a chunk that we can start on. In the surface, we can start on. Now, I'm going to scroll back up here to Jones' kitchen table. So we're going to focus on the evidence that, or the information that Jones has given to illustrate the process so that you can see how this, while we're talking specifically about Jones's kitchen table, is how you can apply it to the surface in the chunk room that you've picked. So notice that Jones is saying kitchen table has become a storage space instead of an eating space. So this is where I say, let's notice this chunk and let's pull out the notebook to define your destination. Okay, so destination decluttered, boom, boom, kitchen table. Notice it's a chunk. You have already discovered one thing you don't like about it, and also one thing you do like about it. So notice in your definition of kitchen table, decluttered is, I want it to be an eating place. I don't want it to be a storage space. So how can you make it like more of an eating place and less like a storage space? Okay. Yeah. There we go. Chuck Mangione pops up all the time, Jones. So I offer to you, Jones, notice you have now created kind of two separate things. You now have kind of a vague idea, not how it looks now. Do not focus on that. We are focusing on the destination. This is where it might help you to close down your eyes, to temporarily shut out what it is now, and then say, what do I want my kitchen table to look like? How do I want it to function? And how do I want to feel when I am looking at and interacting with my kitchen table? Okay. Now, Jones Darcy, this is where if you want to play along, and anybody else, just substitute kitchen table for insert chunk and surface here, is close your eyes, get an idea, get a picture in your head if your brain works that way. And I think more brains work that way than don't. So I will talk to the people who have imaginations that can picture something in their head. And then I say this, do not write it in the comments first. Do not tell me first. Write a note to self, destination, room, surface, destination, kitchen, room, surface, table, destination, bedroom, surface, bureau top, destination, bathroom, counter, destination, living room, floor. And then temporarily get some distance about what it looks like now. And let's start to focus on and get clarity and build a clearer picture of where we're headed so that we can get there more easily. Notice the difference if we were doing a road trip. And I hope as I am saying these things, you are all writing in your notebooks these things to help you. Notice on a road trip, where's my map? You can picture a map of the United States. I'm here in Pennsylvania. My go-to kind of destination is Palm Springs, California. But let's say this, destination decluttered is kind of a vague thing. It would be like destination California. Okay. Now notice, getting to California, it's a big target. I can get to California. But if I chunk it down and I say, well, you know what? There's plenty of places in California I have no interest in. But what I like is this town. Okay. So notice I like what's going on here. I have chunked it down to this town. Now you can now draw a more clear line, but still, if I put from far away, destination Palm Springs is close enough as I'm far away. Even destination California, making sure I'm heading west. As you get closer, though, those details of exactly where you want to be will help you get to there. Okay? So I will say, and I'm just going to do this for fun, but there's a bit of seriousness behind it too. Let me see. I'm going to find out. No, that's not what I want. I'm going to get a distinct crossroads of if I am driving to Palm Springs, where do I want to be? So I can show the difference. Okay, so I'm looking at a map. Now notice there can be a map that says California. There can be a map and it's chunking it down that says there's a town. I am going to the crossroads of, actually, let me find this. Yeah, why not there? Why not? I am going to the crossroads of Morito Place and North Bellardo Road. Notice how when I put my pin there, when it's more specific, that will definitely get me to there. Because if I just say Palm Springs, I will get so close and then I'll be like, okay, now what? I'm on the, the city limits. How do I get to really? I'm close. This feels good, but how can I get there more specifically? Now, oftentimes you don't need to worry about the specifics and you shouldn't worry about anything. You don't need to think about the specifics until you get there closer. However, if you know exactly more accurately to where to pin your map, put a pin in your map, that will just give you a more accurate route on your Google Maps. So don't be afraid of saying, I don't know exactly what I want it to look like. Your brain will work on that. It will become clearer to you as you unclutter the layers, what you like and what you don't like. Okay. But I offer to you the specifics and the detail will help you. So whatever specifics and detail come up right now, write them down. There may be something in there. And if it's coming up from you into your head, from your heart into your head, and then in your hand, and you write it down, I bet there's something in there. Notice I picked a particular crossroads because I'll be honest with you. There is an area of town right there that I am looking forward to investigating to possibly rent a place sometime in the future. So that's where I am heading. I'm getting specific to say, universe, I want to rent a place there. Can you make it happen? Can you help me make it happen? And the universe is like, sure, cool. If you know where I can help you, you seem to be helping yourself. Okay. So I know I was just talking a lot about road trips in Palm Springs. Whoop, let's get back to rooms in your house. Destination kitchen table. Now, I will walk through this process with you. Destination, room, surface, kitchen, table. That's how I want you to begin every destination. I want my room surface. I want my kitchen table to, one, look like this. I want it to look clear, not invisible. I want it to look free of all unnecessary objects on it. I want to not see. I want it to be clean. So ergo, I don't want to see crumbs and stains and smudges. Excuse me. I only want to see the items that live on that table permanently. And for my kitchen table, it's going to be this cool little ceramic boat that I have that has my cloth napkins in it. It has my salt and pepper shakers that crack me up every time I use them. I have a map of the world spread out 24/7, 365 on my kitchen table so that I remind myself of how big the world is. And it's not just the United States or my state or my town. I want to remind myself of the bigness of the world. So I want to be able to easily see my map. And I want to not be where the map gets jammed up. So I have it under a plastic thing. Okay. Now I love it. Kara's showing up and I'm clearing my surfaces. I love it. Dining room and kitchen surfaces, only plants on surfaces, of course, because she's a plant person. Now, if anything, that actually reminds me that we have a plant here, Kara, and I think you'll appreciate that being a plant mom. I'm writing it down today, which will be to text plant person, because we have a plant, the last plant in the house, and it's getting too big for the space. We're going to give it up for adoption. So I realize that we love that plant, but it really needs a better home than we can provide it. It's almost like having a really big dog in like a city apartment. It needs room to flourish and grow. It is growing, but it's practically hitting the ceiling. And I truly believe it would feel so much better if it was repotted and had a chance to spread out and really flourish. I know it can't happen here because it's already hitting our ceiling. Yeah, if you were closer, I'd come and get it for you. Luckily, I will say this, it will be in good hands. Um, Tara, Kara, you would love this little shop that just opened in town. It's called Perch Odds and Ends. If you Google that, it may come up. They're on the TikToks and the YouTubes. I don't know if they're on the TikToks. And the girl who started it, they have a wonderful, she and her partner, husband, whatever, they have gotten it where it is a plant store, but also sells some vintage stuff, some newly made stuff. And chef's kiss. I know good visual merchandising when I see it. And that woman has a talent. And so I praise her every day. Like your home, I so enjoy going into that space because it looks so good. But I know that would not work for me. I love going into places with plants, but the life I love even more would cause my plants to wither and die because I am away from my house for weeks on end. So notice you can appreciate what somebody else does and love it. But then when you come back to your home to say, will that work for the life that I have? Or even better yet, the life I want to have. And when we are decluttering our homes, I want to make sure that you are focusing on not just the life you have now, but if you want anything other than that, let's set you up for success. Let's create your destination that incorporates. Notice I just said earlier about creating a more specific kind of longitude, latitude, and getting more specific. If I want to rent a place in Palm Springs in February of 2027 for a month, I can't have plants in my house in Pennsylvania unless I have somebody come in and water them. But then my plants will be lonely. To me, it's better to be cool with not having plants in my home right now at this juncture. Maybe later in my life, when I am not going so far afield for such long distances, I may become a plant and pet person again. But right now, when I look ahead and forward to, the life I look forward to is being out there, doing the things, and having a home that when I come back to it, I don't need to be afraid to go into the living room to see if I killed the plant. See what I'm saying? Is this helping at all? I hope it is. I hope truly that the quietness in the chat is that you are writing down and chunking down and even doing the decluttering of those surfaces. That's what this space and time is meant to do. Okay? So I trust that you know what to do. Exactly. Modernism in Palm Springs. Now, it's going to be tough to rent a place there because Palm Springs asks more money for places like that. But who knows? Stranger things have happened. This time last week, I did not know that next Wednesday I would be going to Riviera Maya in just a few days. I keep my vibe open to the surprising and what I might think unattainable. So why not aim for what I want? It has worked before. It can work again. Yay, that one persona is decluttering my kitchen table. I love it. Well, not mine, their kitchen table. Yay for that. Okay. And if anybody else is struggling for a surface, just imitate, copy the person next to you. Go to your kitchen table and just say, okay, how does my kitchen table look like? Do I like how it looks? Do I like how it functions? If you don't like it, if you notice something you don't like, you can change it. And that goes for decluttering your kitchen table and what you don't like that's happening in the external world. When you realize, hey, wait a minute, I can do something about this to change what I don't like. I can go protest. I can go vote. I can go donate money to the good people. When you get involved in creating the future you want, you will more likely get the future you want. No, Leslie, you're cracking me up because she says, I'm quiet, but just so you know, I'm working on my chunked down list. Perfect. I'm drinking water when you say notice. All right. Notice that I tend to say the same words over and over again. When I repeat the word notice, I am getting better at even noticing things myself. And what does notice mean? Sorry, Leslie, I don't mean to drown you. Okay. There we go. Cheryl's like, I'm decluttering. You're giving me pep and motivation. I trust that you're doing the good thing. Because if you're not, the only person that gets harmed by it is you, not me. And it's not even harm, but so yay for you doing the good things. Okay. Now listen to, I love it. Penny Myers is working on organizing my packing list items. Awesome, Penny. I thought of you when I realized that next week, and I wrote it down. I will write down a list just to see how it works. I will write down my domestic travel list and then the addendum of international travel. Okay. So that one persona says, I've cleared the surface clutter on the countertops and table. Now working on the stored papers I've avoided. It's just paper, right? Notice when you tell yourself those things. It's just paper, no big deal. How does that feel when you say that? It's just paper, no big deal. To me, that feels good because I've been on the other side where you're like, oh shit, it's paper and I'm afraid of it. Let's hang out over here, shall we? The good side, the warmth, the no big deal side. Yay, that one persona. Okay, now Rochelle, let me help you with this because I've been there. I have destination divorce this year. I'm trying to chunk that down and it's overwhelming. Okay, the great thing is you're noticing overwhelm, and the antidote to overwhelm is going to be the opposite, which is going to be chunking down. Okay, now Jones is saying listening while at work, but getting inspired. Capture the things that are inspire you and write them down, even if you're at work. Okay. Now, Rochelle, I'll help you with your stuff. And Leslie, I'll help you with your stuff. Destination divorced this year. Okay. So, Rochelle, I have been there. And what I will share with you just from my experience, and this was way before I was a coach, way before I got coaching, I was totally making stuff up. I wish I had done things differently. So I will just share that with you from one divorcing person to another. I wish I had created a timeline that worked for me and that I held to it. So instead of just divorce this year, what you might want to experiment is, when do I want that done by? How long do I want to be in this limbo of the divorce proceedings? And when would I like it just done? Okay. So it may not work, but it can't hurt. I want to be divorced instead of sometime this year, because you give yourself a year, it may take a year. That happened to me. I wish it got done sooner, but I was wishing, but I wasn't doing anything. I was afraid. Boy, was I afraid. So I say, how about this? Destination divorced by June. How does that feel? I don't know. Experiment with how different things feel. Maybe that feels too like, oh my God, I've got so much to do and June is coming up. Okay. Destination divorced by September of 2026. So play around with that. But also what I would recommend is overwhelm will benefit from calming down, settling down the nervous system. Writing down your destination and getting your overwhelming thoughts out of your head down onto paper will make you feel better too. So I can't quite remember, the order of things I did. But what I will offer to you now is, Rochelle, I bet you have kind of stirring around in the spaghetti pot of your head all sorts of things I know I need to do in order to get divorced. Okay? What I suggest is take that spaghetti swirls of all those thoughts that are just kind of going bubbla, 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 dump them down onto paper. They do not need to be in order at the beginning. They probably won't be. So you may not even want to try to be. But what I will recommend that will make you feel better and get you out of that feeling of overwhelm is to write those things down. I have a tentative list. Okay, good. Can you add to it? What is the difference for you Notice there's a subtle difference, because if there wasn't a difference, you wouldn't have put that word in there. What's the difference to you between a list and a tentative list? Notice that you put a difference in there. That was for Leslie. Notice you put the tentative in there. So I just ask you, okay, what to you is the difference between a tentative list and just a list? And I'm here to help you with this, so feel free to ping things off of me. Like, this is how we do things. We work in it. Yep. Yeah. And Jones Darcy, 100%. It's a brain dump. Yeah. It's a brain dump. Getting the cluttered brain does not help you. A clear brain, so dump down that stuff. Dump down whatever is in there. Just dump it out. Your brain is kind of like a junk drawer. Your brain is a junk drawer sometimes. It has a lot of good stuff in it, but it does have some junk. But when you clarify, when you see what you have and you can sort it out a little bit, you get clarity. And clarity, clearness, more defined what you want. I'm here to help with it. Okay. So yay for that. Rochelle, as you write that stuff down, bring out your new list. I can help you create a less tentative list. So can all of us. Okay. We're here to help you. Now, Leslie is saying, my photos have been challenging lately. Okay. They don't take up a lot of space, and oftentimes that will allow us to just kind of ignore them. But I'm not really sure how to sort or store them. Okay. No, Leslie, I know you'll appreciate me stopping you with that, because I want to help Rochelle. Okay, so Rochelle says, I haven't actually gotten a lawyer yet, so I have a lot of unanswered questions. Here's what I would do, Rochelle. Number 1 on your action list is to find a good divorce lawyer. Okay, notice I just don't say find a lawyer. There's all sorts of lawyers. I want to find a good divorce lawyer. And then when I find that person, I have a lot of unanswered questions. Write down all the questions you have that you would want to get answered from your divorce lawyer. Notice, and if anybody remembers, there was this, okay, so notice that. Good divorce lawyer versus just lawyer. If you want a lawyer, that may not be the right one. The more specific you can get, the easier it will be for you to get to your destination divorced. Write down, get a divorce lawyer, and I'm going to help you with this too. What I would do is, you may not be the only person who is divorced or divorcing that you know in your circles. You may be not. Get personal recommendations from people who have been there, of who they really liked working with and who to avoid. Okay? So one of the ways you can do the next step is finding a good divorce lawyer is share with your universe, which is your circle of friends, and the universe. I am looking for a good divorce lawyer. Now, here's a neat thing. When you share with other people what you want more specifically, not only do you get their brains working along with your brain, the hive mind, but they will also be on the lookout for people in their sphere that you may not be directly attached to, kind of that Venn diagram of people. They will also be maybe looking for that answer for you, so that and you may get that answer from somebody you have no direct connection with. When you share that with, notice, and this is how I roll because it works many times. Notice I made a decision. Instead of just saying my destination is Palm Springs, and I was about to put in the street intersection of the hotel we're staying at the end of February, but I already know how to get there. And I've gotten there and it's no big deal. So I know I can get there, no big deal. What I don't quite know how to do yet is to get to destination, rent a place in that area when it's cold here in Pennsylvania. So to me, getting more specific, being like, yes, it is nice to rent any, it would be cool. It would be nice to be able to be any place in the warm environment, but it'd be even better to be right there. Okay, Rochelle, I hope that helps. Write down, get yourself a good divorce lawyer and chunk it down. How can I do that? I can ask my friend group. I can look for reviews online. And not only being looking for the ones that will help you, and especially as a woman in the divorce proceedings, but also the ones that people did not have a good experience with. Notice those two. All right. Now, then write down, please, all the unanswered questions you have, or creating write them down so that when you do interview lawyers to see if they're good, you have some questions you can ask them and notice the answers. Now, Leslie is saying, going back to the chunking down of sentimental objects, excuse me, I'm going to cough. Photos don't take up a lot of space. I'm not really sure how to sort/store them. Okay, so let's chunk that down. Not really sure. That's okay. Notice the unsurety. The unsurety has kind of got you, it's not feeling good. Yes, I know how to do this. I'm not quite sure. So let's chunk that down. Let's even just separate out the sorting and the storing. Okay, so the sorting. Leslie, I will offer just some ideas to get your brain flowing to see what resonates with you. My photos right now, I am dividing up into 3 different categories. Okay, my photos are now in 3 different categories, and these only became clear to me as I got into the process. I did not stand there and say, I need to figure it all out perfectly before I start. Doesn't happen. I decided to start, and organically, these 3 categories became very clear. My categories are thus. Category 1 is my photos that tell the story of me, of my friends, of my direct experiences. So those are my snapshots anywhere from high school and on. The food I ate, the trips I took, the friends I hung out with, the things I took pictures of, me. There's my history as represented in photos. The other 2 categories, well, the other 1 category is family history photos, photos that would be of interest to people in my family after I pass away. I don't think anybody cares that I took a really good picture of a focaccia bread in Italy. That really doesn't affect anybody else, like, oh yeah, she ate bread, whatever. But there is Auntie Beth with her great aunts, and that's what they all looked like back then. That has a connection to the family. I know, and I'm going to pretty much I'm going to, if my nieces and nephews, when they clean out my stuff, want to scroll through my pictures of my friends and family, or excuse me, my friends and I, me and my friends and me, I guess my friends and me, they will see that I lived a life that I loved. I created those photos for me and nobody else to prove to me I had a good time. So I remember when I'm in my 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond, I have photos that might remind me of the good times I had. But the other category of family photos, I also then chunk it down. Is this the A side of the family? Is this my mom's side of the family or my dad's side of the family? 2 separate categories, chunking it down. Does that help? Does that help you? And then as far as storing it goes, I am getting so much less fussy about how I store things. I am probably going to get some smaller boxes. I don't like to have things stuck in albums. I like to be able to shuffle through things and notice this and mix it around. I like the flexibility of photos in boxes because that also allows me to easily declutter things. When things are fixed and rigid in a folder, I am much less likely to disrupt that structure. And I may be carrying around way more than I technically need to illustrate that story. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Heather MC, nice to hear from you. And my goodness, you guys, we get like 10 minutes left. Heather is saying, Beth's techniques are so good. I use them in so many areas of my life, including home renovations and cooking. I love it. Getting yourself in a good headspace and chunking it down and going at a comfortable place. And notice when she said headspace, my body all coached to say, remind you that to get in a good headspace, it's also getting yourself in a good heart space. Okay? Yeah. Yay. And going at a space that is comfortable for what your level of comfort zone is. And every time you move forward, even within that comfort zone, you are making it a little bit bigger because you're reinforcing that you can go up to the edge of your comfort zone and sometimes push it out a little bit. So the next time you come by, your comfort zone is even bigger. So this is why I like to play with that idea. If people say, get out of your comfort zone, I say, no, 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 no. Why would I leave something that's comfortable? I say, expand your comfort zone. So you are comfortable with doing things and it's comfortable to do them. Okay? Yeah. Yay, Leslie, for letting me know that what I just said about family photos helps a lot. I think I need to remember. Notice thinking and remembering. And so I would write that down to yourself. It takes longer to go through these photos because of the feels. So seriously, grab a piece of paper, write a note to self, and put it in the paper, the photos, to remind yourself when you get there, that's right. This will be me in the slow lane because I am going to be looking at and feeling, I'm basically going to be time traveling, and time traveling takes time and energy. That you may look at some photos and then be like, whoa. And then you put your head up and you see all these wrinkles that weren't on you in the pictures. And you say, whoa, okay, but hold on. It's 2026. I'm no longer in 1976 in the bicentennial. You're here in the future. And the future is today, man. All right. Now, Joanne Parkhurst is saying AC Moore Hobby Lobby has great storage containers for photos. Joanne, I kind of hate to burst your bubble, but AC Moore doesn't exist anymore. That's where I used to shop. I would say Michael's, but even then, any container will do. Any container will do. The only thing I would suggest is getting clearer on the amount of photos you want to save will allow you to determine the size of container. My photos used to fit in big totes. I have decluttered them so much that I have empty big totes in the basement, and I have much smaller containers right now. Okay. And plastic containers, yeah, and plastic containers so that if the photos, the photos don't get wet. So the difference between a plastic container and a cardboard container, yeah, what if it gets wet and things stick together? Also, if you want to get wicked fancy, you might want to pay for containers that are, I just had a thought that kind of interrupted that. Let me get back on track. Pay for containers that are like non-acidic, like, that won't interact with the acids in the paper and the chemicals that are on the photos. But here's the thing too. Okay. Here's the thing too about storing sentimental objects. The cloud is a storage space. The internet, a digital photo, is also a storage space that allows you to easily share the photos you have that may, in theory, render the physical photo obsolete. So just think of that. Plant the seed. If I am saving these photos of my family, why am I saving them? Well, so future generations know a bit about where they came from, family-wise. So why only have it that it is just the people who happen to see these one photos, the one person who gets to hold the photo? Why not snap a photo of the photos, boop, and then share it? Okay. That can help you feel good about what you've distributed that way and encourage the people to download them and create their own folder in their own life so that you may feel more comfortable letting go of that one photo. Now, the reason I was able to easily, and if you notice, there was a pause. Part of me was like, do I want to throw this away? And then I said, why the hell not? Because I have scanned that photo that I just showed you and shared it with people that I thought would be interested in it. And there have been hundreds and hundreds of people who have seen that photo and now have the opportunity. I don't care about, it making money or whatever, or that's my photo, you can't have it. If they want to save that, so that's part of the history of our town, the digital photo is just as good. If they want a paper copy of it, they can download it and print it out. Okay. So notice that digitizing the photos can also be a way of storing them and sharing them, not just storing and keeping it in a container, but sharing them, because ostensibly that's why you're saving the photos, to share with myself the good story I had about my life. Yes. But also the ones for other people to share. This is what your great great grandmother looked like. Notice how we both have the same nose. This is what your mom looked like when she was 20. This is what Auntie Beth looked like when she was 5. This is what our house looked like when we grew up. Sharing that with somebody else, the sharing aspect, is made easier in the world we live in right now because of digital. Okay. So it's just something to think about, Leslie. I'd be interested to see how that kind of idea kind of shakes down in what you're doing. Okay. Yeah. And Penny Meyer says sentimental equals time travel is important to remember. Give yourself grace. It's almost like, it's almost like those guys, the people who go down to like the bottom of the ocean, they go down slowly and they're moving slowly because it's heavy. And then as they come up, as they start to ascend and come back to the modern day surface, they need to do it at a certain pace, because if you do it too quickly, you get the bends. So allow yourself the space to reacclimate to the fact that, wait, I'm not back here in 1996. It's 30 years later. And then you say, holy fuck, how did 30 years pass? But then you say, but they have. And here I am now. And now you're kind of in the future. What would 1996 me have thought about if they were able to transport into 2026 me? And holy Moses, would 1996 me would say, I don't believe it. That is so awesome. That can't possibly be my life. But part of me be like, yeah, but wouldn't it be cool if it was? And then I would say, I wish I got there sooner. So what could I have done in 1996 sooner? Back to one of the things that popped up, I would have gotten divorced sooner. If I knew that my life could be like this, regardless of what I did in the past, I probably would not have even married my first husband. But you know what? Done bun can be undone, at least as far as divorce goes. Okay. Now, Kelly Smith says, I finally got my new printer hooked up and a new shredder purchased. Notice things are going to go from your printer, then they're going to hang out for a while, and then they're going to go in the shredder. I also immediately posted my old printer and found a new home for it. Rock on. Who needs 2 printers? Today, I am focused on getting my security camera set up today, and tomorrow, chunking it down, my dash cam. I've had them for months. My goal is to get at least one item off my list a day. That sounds like a great plan, Kelly. Kelly, I'm only here for another minute. I will not be doing lives over the weekend. However, I will say this, knowing that today you wants to be the person who gets the security camera set up and the dash cam, I look forward to hearing from you on Monday on the TikTok live or the YouTube live of how it went. Did you get to that? If not, how far did you get before you ran into a roadblock? Okay. I look forward to celebrating your wins and getting curious if you didn't get there, why? With no judgment, just so we can help you get there, even if it's not within the time frame you thought. All right. I love it that one persona is doing grown-up stuff, paying medical bills and processing overwhelm and kicking butt. Yay for adulting. Adulting just means that you know that you can do those things and make it no big deal. That to me is the best part, not getting all activated about stuff. Okay. Cheryl is saying, I feel so much better. And I love this. I love this because we're going to sign off right now. So I love to sign off at a good time. The I feel so much better. Cheryl says, I feel so much better now that I decluttered my bedroom surfaces this morning. It almost feels like an identity shift. Thank you for your help. shifting your identity from being cluttered just an hour or so ago to having a decluttered bedroom. Feels good. Look at me. I am a decluttered person. I live a decluttered life. And how do I do that? By making sure that my clutter doesn't creep up and take over, by doing a little bit, chunking it down, a little bit of decluttering a day. Okay? So now that being said, Cheryl, I love that. I look forward. I have things I want to do. We'll have things you want to talk about. I will too. Feel like the end of Mr. Rogers, The Helpers, right? I have some stuff I want to get done, both decluttering and adulting and fun. I'm going to get it all done this weekend. And I say all because my definition of getting it all done is a very small definition. I've chunked down the all, and I'm going to feel good about it. And I look forward to seeing you guys on Monday. Monday, TikTok Live, YouTube Live. Tuesday, TikTok Live, YouTube Live. Show up for anyone, for all, for some. Chunk it down. And have a great weekend, everybody. Okay? Have a great weekend, and I'll see you on the flip-flop. Bye.